couldn't understand what was going on. But sometimes this is a nice electro voice microphone, which a lot of radio stations use, and it's a pretty good sounding microphone. But there's never any guarantees. It's live. You never know what's going on. You like that picture on the banner picture I put on there? That's a little scary, I must say. But anyway, we thought we put it on. Thank you for joining me tonight. Another live chat with a subject where I want your feedback. I'd like to hear about specific albums that you might have bought in your life that you were excited about, but you were disappointed with. And we've all gone through that. You have an artist and you love the artist and you've learned to trust the artist. We've all gone through this route. You got this artist, and every time they release an album, you rush to the record store back in the old days, right? When we had a lot of those. And you pick it up and you bring it home and you're going, it's great. It's like, man, what's happened? What happened to them? Oh no. And we've all done that. No matter what. I mean, if you've loved everything you've bought at a record store, something's wrong with you. No, of course you've been disappointed. I remember when Bad came out by Michael Jackson. And by the way, please give me your, and no one's wrong here. Remember, this is a safe space to say whatever you want. Oh, Kiss the Elder. Yeah, I've heard that one before. Thank you, John. But you can't help it if you buy an album and you don't like it. It doesn't matter if the world likes it. I've talked to people who hated Thriller rather, and loved Bad more. And I go, well, that's a bad decision, but you like what you like, right? I'm going to read your comments in a second. But for instance, Thriller sold 34, went 34 times platinum, and Bad went 11 times platinum. If he hadn't released a Thriller, Bad on its own would have been known as a great success. I didn't like that album. I liked Thriller, but I really didn't like Bad. I hated the song Bad. I remember thinking, and lots of folks didn't like Let It Be by the Beatles, which was not officially their last album, but was released as their last album. And, but I loved it. I liked the rawness of it, like John and Paul and Two of Us, and Paul and I've Got a Feeling. It's sort of bluesy tune. Let's get to some of your comments. As mentioned, John Adams says Kiss the Elder, which is something I'd heard before. Queen Hot Space. Yeah. Ted, thank you. Oh, one of the big ones. One of the quintessential albums that disappointed fans, SIBO, of course, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Love Beach. Even the cover looked like a Bee Gees cover. And I asked Carl Palmer about it. Carl was sort of on an off day when I talked to him, and he didn't give me a lot about it, but he just said it was, it was a contractual thing. So I'm just trying to get to see if all the comments here. Stephen J. Mike Portnoy and Russell Allen should have been much more dynamic duo. Stephen J. Still fun live though. Bill Griffin. Oh yeah, In Excess. What is it? I don't know that album. Shabu Shuba. I don't know. Don't Change is such an incredibly good song. The rest of the album wasn't even listenable. We've got those. See, that's the thing. There's almost like you feel like you've been betrayed by your favorite artist. You have this tie-in with the artist. They get you, or there's something about their lyrics, or the lead singer. It's just something about the way he sings. When Tom left the Doobie Brothers and Michael McDonald came in, a lot of folks, I like Taking It to the Streets. In the mid-'70s, smack in the middle of the '70s, I still like them because the glue of that band to me was Pat Simmons. So, and the rest of the band was still there. They had revolving drummers and stuff, and guitarists, of course. But I still liked it. Living on the Fault Line, not as much, and that wasn't a very successful album. Leather Jackets by Elton John is a great example where a lot of Elton John fans do not like that album. When we did a poll a few years ago, Leather Jackets did not do well. I think it was the worst rated album from your voting. Some people didn't like Rock of the Westies after Captain Fantastic. Some people didn't like Blue Moves, a double album, after Rock of the Westies. Zooropa by U2 after Achtung Baby. Some people didn't like that one. Anyway, I'll get some of your comments. This is for you. I want to air your grievances. Happy Festivus for bad albums. Oh, Alex Knight. Hey, Alex. Hope everything's good in Boston. GTR was below expectations. DJH Record Hound. Hi, John. As a collector, disappointment happens all the time, but so do the fines. Yeah. James Bashir. Good evening, John. Hope everything is well. We are well. I'm going to start doing more of these. I like these trigger questions. I like these because one day I thought, okay, what should I ask for this kind of live thing? What's the thing that lights up people? And I started thinking, what are the subjects that I would ask at a party when I was growing up? Right? I'd go to a guy's place. Remember when we were growing up, you'd go to a guy's place if it was a party, and you'd immediately go to the stereo, check out what kind of stereo the guy had, right? And then you would check out the albums, and maybe in the wrong order, but you'd check out the albums first, maybe. And you'd see what he had, but we'd always ask questions like, oh, did you like the new album? I don't really like the new album. Or, oh, I hated that third album they had, but they bounced back on number 4. There was always that kind of stuff. And because people like to bitch about stuff a little bit, and no one wants to be let down by their artist, even though they're on their own path. They're doing their own thing, right? I remember when Draw the Line came out, the follow-up to Rocks from Aerosmith, and I loved Rocks a lot. I loved that album. Draw the Line I got from the Columbia Record Club. I was disappointed in it, but I was so into Aerosmith at the time, it didn't bother me. Draw the Line sold half of what... I think Rocks, I got it here. In 76, 4 times platinum. Draw the Line sold half that. And Night in the Ruts sold half of that. So that says something. Okay, let's get some of your comments. Oh, Michael Lewis, No Prayer for the Dying. Michael Jones, the last Yes album. I was just listening to that yesterday. It's the first time I've listened to it in its entirety. I don't mind it. Ted Harrington, The Who, Endless Wire. Yeah. Catherine Stanley. I like Michael Jackson, Off the Wall. I love Off the Wall. Off the Wall and Thriller are my 2 favorite Michael Jackson albums. And I mean, Rock With You with John G.R. Robinson on drums. I mean, that just gets me every time. That drumming intro. Did it. Well, I can't do it. Aaron Campbell, Let It Be, Abbey Road was much better. Yes. But they were released backwards. Amber Gwynn. Shaken and Stirred, Robert Plant. Thank you. Stephen J. The last 2 Yes albums are garbage. See, you're not wrong. I'm not. I don't think they were garbage. But we say this a lot on this channel. And we live in a world where we grew up and someone said, you like that? How could you like that? And they'd push you into the mud or something. And you go, well, I don't know. I can't help if I like it. I liked the Captain and Tennille growing up. I drew their logo. It was kind of like a Chicago logo. Remember, it was like a very windy. I love Tony Tennille's voice. I love Daryl Dragon's keyboards. And people would, my rocker friends would go, "How can you like Captain?" I don't know. I like them. You can't think your way out of liking something, right? So if there's an album that disappointed you, you're not wrong. It disappointed you. You might get hell from your friends, but you can't help it. Let's see where we are. I've lost my footing. Oh, Chris Booth, Elton John, The Big Picture. I didn't get into The Big Picture that much. Oh, Carrie Crouch, Aerosmith, Draw the Line. See, we just mentioned that one. That let a lot of people down, and it sold half of what Rock sold, and then Night in the Ruts sold half of that. Jerry Rocks, Peter Frampton, I'm in You. There's a good example. I liked I'm in You. I was too I don't consider Peter Frampton ever releasing an album that I didn't like. But I didn't love I'm in You like I love Frampton Comes Alive, right? Signed, Sealed, Delivered. I didn't mind his version of that. The title song wasn't a bad tune. Michael Jones. Yes, Mindcrime. Could have been good. The rest of the story. Carlos Fontao. Pink Floyd, Final Cut. Yeah, a lot of people say that. That's for sure. It's like a kind of like a Roger solo album. Diminished Holstone. My Shabu Shuba 82 in excess. You're I think the third person who's mentioned that. Yes, Union, Alex Knight. I've talked to some of the guys who were part of that album, Bill Bruford, John Anderson, and someone else. I'm trying to think of who I've interviewed. And there's mixed reactions even within the band, and you've heard that. I mean, just look it up in Wiki, and it says that. Stephen J. The Mindcrime Tate trilogy makes Queen writes Mindcrime Part 2 sound amazing. Michael Jones' Union is a good album of 3 or 4 different bands. It's very true. Aaron Campbell, Beach Boys, Smiley Smile. Well, yeah, after after Pet Sounds, Smiley Smile comes out, right, a year later. Pet Sounds 66, Smiley Smile in 67, and really didn't sell that well for the Beach Boys. Catherine Stanley, okay, we've made that one. Mike L., Hot Space by Queen was a big disappointment to me. A lot of people have said that. We just got a super chat. Thank you for your super chat. Richek 59. You should do a stream on guilty pleasures. The last Iron Maiden disappointed me. Too proggy. Guilty pleasures. We'll do that next time. Thank you, and thank you for your donation, your super chat. Guilty. Speaking of Captain Antonio, right? I had so many guilty pleasures. Oh, my record collection was everywhere. Like even when I'd be carrying Saturday Night Fever, the Starland Vocal Band, and Zeppelin Physical Graffiti to school with me to lend them to someone or something. Starbuck, Moonlight Feels Right, that album. I'm talking to Bruce Blackman right now to set up an interview, but I love that album. Yeah, hold on. Let's get to some more. And remember, you're never wrong. If you don't like something, you don't like something, right? Paul Maud, I love complaining. Dwayne says, Ozzy's ultimate sin was hot trash, especially coming after Blizzard, Diary, and Bark at the Moon. Aaron Campbell, Van Halen Diver Down is mentioned a lot. When I was doing research on this piece, Diver Down and Van Halen 3 with Gary Schroen, that's mentioned an awful lot. Boston 2, Don't Look Back, to some people disappointed because it sounded so much like it sounded like a watered down version of the first album. But I loved it. When I love A Man I'll Never Be, that's such a great album. And it did have like copy songs from the first album, but I don't know. I was so excited to get Don't Look Back that I still play it a lot today. Of course, play the debut a lot more. Let's see. Oh, David, James Bashir says Dave Edmunds, Information. Ted Harrington, Eric Clapton, August. I don't know if I know that one. Do I know that one? Gary Mintz, great question. Might be great songs sung in a band, not by the lead singer. For example, Take It to the Limit. Yeah, Randy Meisner. Which it's for me, it's like Zeppelin 4 and Physical Graffiti. Those are the two that I intertwine. And most of the time lately, Zeppelin 4 wins as the better album. And for me, with the Eagles, it was always One of These Nights and its follow-up, Hotel California. And I kept going back and forth with that. And I was happy to interview Bernie Leadon, whose last album was One of These Nights, and Randy Meisner, whose last album was Hotel California. A different kind of truth. Van Halen, horrible. I agreed. I hated that album. Sweet Savage. Gary Mintz, great. Oh, I already got that. Randy Schiffer, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, American Dream is a very repetitious song. Carlos Fonteo, Mike and the Mechanics, Let It Fly. I hear you. Frank Janiak says Styx, Mr. Roboto. I wasn't a big fan. Ted Harrington, Rush Presto. Michael Say, I'm not sure how you say your name. Several metal albums that I thought were disappointing. Saxon, Crusaders, Rat, Dancing Undercover, Dio, Sacred Heart. Russell's House, Mr. Roboto. That's come up a few times. And that was a dividing thing for fans. It's kind of like when Michael McDonald was brought into the Doobie Brothers. Changing lead singers, even though with Styx, it was Dennis DeYoung was still there. But changing lead singers can really divide fans, right? And like the best example of that was, one of the better ones was Michael McDonald. Replacing a lead singer is a big thing. Randy says, America, Your Move. Ted Harrington, Pink Floyd, The Final Cut. Yep. Michael Jones says, Presto was not bad. Weird. I remembered it well. Love Hold Your Fire. Jason Free, Guns N' Roses, Lies. Michael Lewis says, the Red and Blue Beatles compilation albums, they always sounded different to me for some reason than the original releases. I remember them well, both double albums. Bill Griffin, I only saw Queen once, and that was on the Hot Space tour. I was disappointed because they are such a dynamic band, but everything was compressed at the same volume. Ted Harrington, Supertramp, Famous Last Words. I have to agree. Yeah. Any Supertramp fan would look at. I was looking at today, someone on the Supertramp pages had put down his or her favorite Supertramp albums, and Crime of the Century came first. Breakfast in America came second, or even in the Quietest Moments might have been in there. And then Crisis, What Crisis. And then, of course, Famous Last Words, indelibly stamped, and the Supertramp self-titled album. And I went, that's kind of what a lot of people would say. Because Famous Last Words seemed watered down, and there was the rumor that Rick and Roger were keeping their best songs for the next Supertramp album for Rick, and for Roger for his first solo album, In the Eyes of the Storm. So, James Bashir, Eric Clapton, Behind the Sun, Wizard One Music, Grand Funk Railroad, All the Girls Beware, disappointed me. Thank you. Randy Schiffer, America, Harbor, and Hideaway. It's strange. I like both those albums. And both those albums didn't do that well. And there was the last two albums for Dan Peake, but I like them. Ted Harrington, Electric Light Orchestra, Balance of Power. I hear you there. Artist on Record starring Attica, Live. Peter Frampton, Premonition. Joe says REO Speedwagon, High Infidelity. You didn't like that one. See, a lot of people love that one, but you don't like it, right? Hike with Mike, most disappointing album was Led Zeppelin's last album, In Through the Outdoor. That's a good example. I love that album, but that's a good example of it divided fans. I remember, I think it was the Berlin concert, the last concert Zeppelin ever did with Bonham. In the concert, Robert Plant tells the crowd, if you've ever heard it, he says, well, we've tried something different on this album. We decided to do something a little different. And he didn't have to say that because a lot of people, of course, were there already. Someone had mentioned the other day, I was talking to a friend, Sabbath's Technical Ecstasy from 76. Tony Iommi kind of playing, changing the sound of the band a little bit. DJ H Record Hound says, got sick of Hysteria by Def Leppard by the end of the first play. Every song sounded similar. I'm not the biggest Def Leppard fan, so because of that, I think a lot of their stuff sounds the same. Stephen J. Rush has never put out a bad album, and I'm willing to fight to the death over this statement. Thanks for putting a smile on my face. Kobo, Wizard Wand, Music Dittos, Ted Harrington, ZZ Tops, 30. Paul J. Ingram. Let me see what we got here. We've got 96 people watching. By the way, please like our video. We've only got 25 likes, and I know liking a video is one of those things that you have to remind people to do. And I mean, I understand that you guys are busy, but if you like discussing this sort of thing, and every couple of nights we come on here and I'll have a subject where I want to have input from you. I enjoy talking to you on this level where we're all just kind of chatting together, right? I do videos every single day with artists, and it's almost every day, if not every day, we release an interview. And please subscribe to our channel with an artist. That's what we do. And in the coming days, we'll be releasing at least 3 videos with 3 different artists every single day. And that's what the channel is about. But one thing I'd missed, and thank you for liking our video. I see it's going up. One thing I've missed is basically coming on here and talking to you about things you freaking can't stand and things you love and things that have changed your life. Oh, Joseph Janik. I'm late to the party. No one else has mentioned. Oh, let me get your comments since you're super chatting us. Thank you for your donation. Boston Third Stage. Ta-da! Yes, of course. And I'm mentioning Don't Look Back. And Don't Look Back was really a product, like a copy of the first album. A little thinner, not in sound, but in quality, but still really good. And I've talked to Jim Mastia, who was the drummer of that album and drummer for Rock and Roll on the first album, and really the original drummer for Boston. And he he drummed on half of it on Third Stage, and he toured for that album as well. But he enjoyed it, and on some level, sometimes I go back and listen to it, but it's not like the first two. So thank you. I appreciate that. That's a great example. Let's get back. Oh, so Ted Harrington says Joni Mitchell, Dog Eat Dog. It's another one I like, but it not everyone did. Amused to Death, Roger Waters. Bob, thank you. Hey Lad, Captain and Tennille are awesome. Thank you. Michael Shogi, any Robert Plant solo album. All Robert Plant solo albums have a tendency to be just, not that they sound like Zeppelin, but goes into that sound, quite honestly, because he's Robert Plant. Even though I do like his solo albums, but I know what you're saying. It's not anywhere near as Led Zeppelin, but it's solo, right? I think the Honey Drippers really shocked me when he came up with that. I got it. It took me a while though. Okay, where are we? Sorry, I've got to go back. See, Western Sky, you hated Wings, London Town. I love that album. I liked Back to the Egg. It's my favorite. And a lot of people hated that album. Okay, I'm trying to get back to where I was. Oh, Michael Shogi, Genesis Abacab, You're Not Alone. I like that album. A lot of my friends did not like that album. Ted Harrington, Rolling Stones, Emotional Rescue. That's one that's mentioned a lot. Okay, let me, Kate Bush, Ariel, Crimson King. See, it's a double album, and I love that album by Kate Bush. I play it a lot. It's very bassy. It's a very bassy album. Okay, I found where I was. DJH Record Hound says the Def Leppard live VHS changed my mind at least. Rich Ratch 59. My iPod went to Monoware to Hall & Oates. Oh, I don't know how to say that. Monowar. Yeah, there you go. King Crimson, Kate Bush, 50 Words of Snow. Hey lad, a former coworker once told me that his father, who was a huge Genesis fan, actually cried when Invisible Touch came out. Well, Invisible Touch is one of my least favorite Genesis albums, even though I wear the t-shirt because it's a very comfortable t-shirt. People are always going, do you only wear one t-shirt? I only have one copy of that t-shirt, but it's so freaking comfortable, and I like having Genesis on there. But I wasn't a big fan of Invisible Touch. Artists on Record starring Attica Live, Staying Alive soundtrack, good, but not great. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Catherine Stanley, John Mellencamp, recent album, One-Eyed Jack was disappointing to me. Too many depressing songs. Thank you. Randy Schiffer, Walking Man, James Taylor. I'm with you on that one. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Mahler, Guitar Enthusiast. The Final Cut, Floyd. A couple of good tracks, but that's about it. A lot of folks said it's just a Roger Waters quasi solo album. Phone Co Lady. In Through the Outdoors is a disappointment. Okay, thank you. Bill Griffin, Rush has been my favorite band since '77, but they had put out bad sounding albums. Vapor Trails, Snakes and Arrows have terrible production. Michael Shogi, Genesis Abacab. Yeah, I read that one already. Steven Adams, every Kiss album. If you have to wear a costume and disguise yourself, grab attention, not worth listening to. I hear you, but a lot of people wouldn't agree with you. I stopped being a Kiss fan after Destroyer. I don't know, it was a little much for me. I still listen to them. You go to a party, I was in '79, I was 19. So I was right in the pocket of growing up. Let me see, where am I? Yeah, Frank, you're right. The Final Cut was not actually a Floyd album. It was filler. Stephen J. Vapor Trails. Vapor Trails remix is, I think he meant good. Chinese Democracy, Guns N' Roses by Chris Snodgrass. Genesis 1996 album. DJH Record Hound. Anyone got Van Halen 3 on vinyl to throw away? I'll take it. Gary Sharon. A lot of folks didn't like it. It just didn't sound, it's like the New Nazareth album, which I really like the New Nazareth album. But I don't like it as a Nazareth album. I just think it's a really catchy. I just talked to Pete Agnew. I think it's a catchy album, but as a Nazareth album, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Yogi. Oh, Michael Shogi, Roger Waters, Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking. I didn't like that album either. Mike Oldfield, Man on the Rocks. He did make it up with Return of Omadon. I did the Kiss Psycho Circus. Comes up a lot tonight. Queen Hot Space. Thanks, Michael, and thanks, Mino. 3333. Oh, Ted Harrington, John Fogerty, Eye of the Zombie. You guys are giving me a lot of stuff. But Ben Patterson, for me, it's a toss-up between Van Halen #2 and Boston's Don't Look Back. There you go. Michael Jones, Roger R. The Solution is Good. Mr. Kite, 1983, Boston Third Stage. Man, that one's come up a lot. Let me see. Brandy Schiffer. Oh, yeah, Cat Stevens, Buddha in the Chocolate Box. Crimson King says, no, I like Hot Space. Crimson King says, even I didn't care much for Love Beach by Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Steve McNary, In Through the Outdoor. Still hate that album. It's a very dividing album, you know. I like Carousel Alhambra, the long song. Ding, 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 ding. You know, I love that song. It was Fool in the Rain with the Bonham Shuffle, you know. As an album, even though Led Zeppelin would have sometimes different things on their albums, different spices of... As an album, it didn't play necessarily well together. I thought All of My Love was a little whiny, but I still like the album. Another one for In Through the Outdoor. Oh, John Swainer Music, BTO Freeways. That's a great example because that was the album that Randy really believed in, and I loved that album. Randy Bachman was trying to chase friends on the radio and then stay true to the BTO sound. I've talked to Randy several times about that album. Frank says, Yes was always changing band, but I have to agree, anything after 90210 sucks. Mark Burchett, I saw the Game Tour. Thank you. Scott, That's Easy, the band Asia. I can remember when the super prog group came out. They were a revolution. When I heard Asia, I was excited. They were just an AOL band. A Wizard One Music, Black Sabbath Technical Ecstasy disappointed me. I just mentioned that one because, well, a lot of folks were saying on that album, Tony was just kind of playing around with the sound a little too much. You know, and you don't want to, in radio, and, you know, for folks who are joining us tonight, this is like my 40th year in radio. And we have a rule in radio is don't confuse the audience. Don't do it. Don't, you know, if you're a country station, don't start playing Zeppelin. If you're just, you know, we don't do block programming anymore in radio where in the morning you'd have country, in the evening you have this, and every station has their own sound. Just stick to what you're good at and then move on. So, okay, I got a lot of comments here. I'm going to get to them really quick. Michael says, that Styx album mentioned is Kilroy Was Here. Thank you. Michael Shogi, Annie Robert Plant solo album. I got that. Joni Mitchell, got that. Andrew Snyder, Toto, Through the Looking Glass, an album of covers. I didn't like it either. Michael Shogi, Phil Collins, No Talent Required. That's funny. Mark Burchett, Alan Parsons Project, I, Robot. Oh, it's my favorite. I just listened to the new Alan Parsons album today. They sent it to me early, a few weeks early, and it's just sensational. It's really, really good. McCartney 3, Ego Jones. Ted Harrington, Jackson Browne, World in Motion. Thank you. Toto was a one-hit wonder. No, they weren't. What the heck? Where have you been? Bill Griffin, Alice in Chains, and Skid Row. Michael says, I love iRobot. Ego. Teenage Head. Some Kind of Fun by Kurt Copes. Ted Harrington, Judas Priest, Turbo. Yes, Big Generator, Michael Shogi. I remember Big Generator. Russell's House. Seems like bands that made greatest albums of all time have the largest letdowns and follow-ups. Yeah. Breakfast in America, Out of the Blue. Yeah, by ELO. Pet Sounds. Yeah. Smiley Smile. Frank Janiak. The topic should be LPs that really suck. John Lennon, Double Fantasy. I did not. Yeah, Randy. I did not like that album. Beach Boys, Smiley Smile. It came up quite a few times. Well, after Pet Sounds in '66, Smiley Smile comes out in '67, and you can't win. You just can't. Yeah, another person said Ego Jones. Yeah, Smiley Smile. Let's get to some juicy ones. Pure Instinct by Scorpions, Ted Harrington. You've got a lot tonight. Final Cut, again, Pink Floyd. Andrew, yes, U2 Pop. Yes, Talk by Carl. Draw the Line came up several times, William Aiken tonight, because they were digging in the sauce an awful lot. And when you consider that, like I said, Rocks in '76 went 4 times platinum. Then Draw the Line sold half that. Then Night in the Ruts, where Joe Perry left halfway through the recording of that album. So there you go. Please like our video. Thank you. Please subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. If you joined on here tonight because you like the title, keep in mind every couple of nights I come on and I ask you questions. I want to know from you stuff that you like and stuff that you really, really don't like. Scott McGregor said The Wall. Wow. I thought The Wall should have been a single album. And everyone goes, oh, I'm like that when I say it because it's sacrilegious to some people. But we have interviews every single day on this. It's classic rock interviews every single day on this channel. So first of all, like this video if you're enjoying yourself, hanging out with other people of like mind, and please subscribe to our channel. And check out our older videos. We've interviewed so many big rockers in the past. We just haven't. We're still doing it, right? So, Kiss Unmasked. Michael, yes, thank you. I agree with that. The Kinks. The Kinks present a soap opera. Gravel 123. Anything Yes did after Big Generator. Rich Leach. Bad Company. Rough Diamonds. I've heard that one before. Yep. Scott says, I have warmed up considerably to Gentle Giant's last album, Civilian. In Through the Outdoor, again by Joel. That's probably one of the biggest ones tonight, In Through the Outdoor. Paul J. Ingram, thanks for mentioning my name. Sorry you couldn't get to my comment. I thought it was pretty good. One Step Closer, the Doobie Brothers. Oh, yeah. And when I was doing research on this subject, One Step Closer, it kept coming up. And I asked my friends, and 3 of the 10 people that I talked to, because I said, why don't you come on with me? And none of them could make it tonight. One Step Closer came up, I think, 3 times. And I liked that album. I liked, Real Love. Cornelius Bumpus, who worked with Steely Dan, who actually had a heart attack on a plane. We lost him. I thought he was good on that album. Okay. Michael says McCartney, Driving Rain. Gibbles, Pass Cake. Pink Floyd, The Final Cut. That came up a lot tonight. Dire Straits, On Every Street by Chris. Oh, Mark Burchett says Alan Parsons' I, Robot. God, I love that album, but you don't like it. You don't like it. Russell's House. I love Third Stage. So well produced. It was well produced. James Hyatt, Paul McCartney, Pipes of Peace. I didn't like it either. Bill Griffin. I like all Genesis albums after Duke, but I don't love them like I did Duke. Yeah, Duke is one of my favorite Genesis albums. Premonition, John Fogerty by Randy Schiffer. Ace Deuce. Chase Tower, Led Zepp, Coda. Yeah. In Through the Outdoor. Man, that's one of the top ones tonight. Neil Young, Trans. Yeah, that was like techno Neil Young. Gary, thank you. I think there was maybe one good song on Love Beach. I didn't like that album either. Contractual Obligations. Springsteen's Human Touch, Lucky Town. Thanks, Michael. Prince, Batman. Yeah, I hated that. Ted Harrington. Rush, Hold Your Fire from Chris. Anything from Rush post A Farewell to Kings. Ooh, you're being tough. You're being tough. Okay, I've got to go through these quick. I think In Through the Outdoor by Zeppelin's probably going to be the top one tonight. Zeppelin's Coda, Mark Burchett, thank you. Bill Griffin says, I could see how it would be hard to accept Nazareth without Dan. He was a singer for 100 years after all. Yeah, right, Bill? Walking Man, James Taylor took a little bit to, James says, to warm up to. I didn't like that album, and I'm a big James Taylor fan. A lot of James Taylor back there. Queen, Made in Heaven. Michael, I agree. Wilco, Star Wars. Def Leppard, Adrenalize by Randy. Montrose, Paper Money from Scott. JJ wrote, I love In Through the Outdoor, but Coda is dull. I agree. The Elder by Kiss. What a bummer. Van Mystery 94. I have so much trouble with these usernames. Gregory says, Wakeman calls Union onion. Yes, he did. That's right. Gene Phillips says, agree with you about Nazareth. Not the same without Dan. I like the new album. I really, really like it, but it doesn't sound like Nazareth to me. The last two U2, Mahler says the last two U2 releases. Ted says No Place to Run by UFO. Iron Maiden, The X Factor. Chris, thank you. You like Technical Ecstasy. There you go. By Black Sabbath, Bill Griffin. Mark says Neil Young, Hawks and Doves. George Harrison's Gone Tropo, disappointing. Let's see. Kate Bush, The Dreaming. Michael Shogi. Alice Cooper, Flesh the Fashion by Ted. Mr. Roboto, Gregory. Aerosmith 9 of the Ruts came out a lot, Mark. That's a big one. Like I said before, when Draw the Line came out, it sold half of Rocks, and then Night of the Ruts sold half of that. So Peter Gabriel, Up. Michael Shogi. Scott McGregor, The Wall. Mark Burchett says, thank you, John. Thank you. Yeah, I got to get through. I got so many comments here. Oh, Heart Private Audition. That took me a while, Greg, to more up to that. True Love, Pat Benatar from Ted. A lot of the same people saying stuff here. Blondie the Hunter, Ted again. Woof. Where are we? What time is it now? Oh, man, we've been on for an hour almost. 38 minutes. I keep them coming. I appreciate everyone commenting. Stephen Bishop, Bowling in Paris. Oh, thanks for the reminder. I got to get a hold of Stephen Bishop. He's got a new book out. I want to talk to him. Oh, JJ wrote Heaven Forbid and Curse of the Hidden Mirror by Blue Oyster Cult. Very disappointing to me. I just interviewed Joe Bouchard for a second time, by the way. No longer, he and his brother are no longer in Blue Oyster Cult, but great interview. Man, he's an interesting cat. They love talking about that Saturday Night Fever clip with Don't Fear the Reaper. Heaven's Open by Mike Oldfield from Dawn. Thank you. See, Technical Ecstasy comes up again. Arniel Music. Thank you. Yeah, that's... don't mix with the... Sometimes you don't want to screw around with the sound, but you don't want to have every album sound the same. And, Tony was mixing it up a little bit, they were saying, on that one. So there's always... don't screw around too much with the formula. What came up over and over are things like Freeways by Bachman-Turner Overdrive. But I liked it for whatever reason. I liked, screwing with the formula with a new singer. I liked taking it to the streets. Living on the Fault Line, not so much the follow-up, but Living Eyes, Bee Gees, good one. Yes. I think by that time, a lot of people were sick of that sound. Spirits Having Flown was the first one after Saturday Night Fever, and I thought that was a great album. But I was wearing on that sound a little bit. Oh, Randy, good one. Eagles' Long Road Out of Eden. I loved it. I gave it probably my best review that of everything I've ever written professionally. I used to write for a few magazines, and I wrote that one. I liked that one a lot, but a lot of my friends did not. Anything Chicago after Terry Kath died? Don, you're being tough. I liked a lot of their stuff after Terry died. Chinese Democracy by Guns N' Roses, B40, Justin James Jewell. Underwhelming might be the latter Boston albums. Ted Harrington, Devo, Total Devo. Oh, Chicago 8 Disco. Yeah, I remember that. The elevator one, the building one. Walk On, Louis Crow, Boston Walk On, thank you. Deep Purple, Come Taste the Band, thank you. Doobie Brothers, Stampede. Oh, I love Stampede so much. I love Stampede. I've loved every Doobie Brothers album. I have to say, I don't think there's a Doobie Brothers album that I didn't like. I didn't like the first one that much, but they were crafting the sound. It's like the first April Wine album. They hadn't quite gotten the sound down yet. It's like the first Genesis album, From Genesis to Revelation. It just wasn't melding. It wasn't quite there yet. And every band needs to find. Mark Burchett, Boston Corporate America. I haven't had a chance to listen to it in quite a few years, so. I've been reading this wrong. Emile Music, Paul McCartney, Driving Rain. I think that's what it says. George Barry, Boston Corporate America. I love Tom, but not Boston. Justin James Jewell, Supertramp album, post Roger Hodgson. Well, I've grown to realize that I've liked Rick Davies as much as Roger Hodgson. And that's nothing against Roger. I love Roger Hodgson. Oh, I'm not worthy. But I have to admit, I've liked Rick Davies' stuff just as much. And I didn't know that till Brass Tack started really paying attention to the songs on the albums that I love. Did you see his Ricky and the Rockets? Look up any Supertramp page on Facebook and you'll see Ricky and the Rockets performing. I think he performed 2 or 3 Supertramp songs. There you go. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Todd Rundgren, a cappella. Ted. John says, In Through the Outdoor. Again, I think that's the winner tonight. I'm pretty sure. Because they were such a big band and they're the ultimate screwing of the formula. Because so then you go, okay, if they would have stayed together or if Bonham wouldn't have died, what would the next album have sounded like? Would it have ruined the lineage, the reputation of this great band? They weren't going to stay the same no matter what. So I think they would have disappointed the core. Don't disappoint your core fans. Mark says, the most disappointing album for me was Chilliwack's 84 release, Look In, Look Out. What a letdown. After the incredible release, 82 Opus 10. Chris says, Tall Rock Island, poor follow-up to Crest of the Knave. Elliot. Greetings from New York. Hey, Elliot. I have to say, the 2 albums that really disappointed me was McCartney's Press and Play and Driving Rain. Thank you. Electric Cafe, Kraftwerk, Ted. Boy, some of you guys have a lot of albums that disappointed you. The Who, It's Hard. I've heard that one before. David Smith, thank you. Ruben Kincaid, welcome. REM, Automatic for the People. Keith, hey, buddy. How you doing? Keith is going to come visit us this summer. I hope so. We're going to take him to Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia. Oh, Linda Ronstadt, Mad Love. Matt Rock. Ali Alias, LOL. Okay, Don Campbell, Who, Face Dances. I can understand a lot of these. Really, I really can. Magnetic Air, Max Webster, Gregory Cave. Yep. Joe, you're right. Led Zeppelin were on the downside in the late 70s. Very true. Bill Griffin, I suspect the next Zeppelin album would have sounded a lot like Coverdale Page album. Keith, yep, I'm here. Ted Harrington, David Bowie, Never Let Me Down. Ruben Kincaid, Def Leppard, Hysteria. Wow. Guess what I have to do now, though? I have to go record my radio show, my Vancouver show. And I'd like to stay and hang out, but, in radio, extra texture, George Harrison. Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure it says Amiel. I can't tell. I should have reading glasses, excuse me. But in radio, the clock is the boss. No matter what, it's the boss every single time. So unfortunately, and it's nice, we've got like 100 people watching, hanging out with us. And I'd like to stay and talk to you all night. But please, if you're getting this while it's playing back, oh, thank you, Joe. Thank you for the folks who gave us super chats. Remember, if you ever want to donate to the channel, not on this video, but most videos, we have a PayPal link where you can donate to the channel if you want to help us out. You don't have to. Times are hard, I understand. Or else you can just super chat us, and you can make a donation on any video. Basically, the dollar sign's there. But again, times are hard. I appreciate anyone who helps us out if you can, right? So thank you. Please subscribe to our channel. It means an awful lot to us. We're trying to get to 100,000. Extra texture really grows on me. Yeah, Elliot, I hear you. And so there you go. I'll be putting in the description different ways if you ever want to. After I get off this and it cements itself, whatever it does on YouTube, I'll put some stuff down, and yeah, that's how you can help us out. And we're this close for our Patreon account. We're going to do that, where we'll give you extra tracks that are not available. We'll also do a lot of meetings, private meetings with you, and weekly meetings with the crowd. We'll put some of you on our channel if you want to come on. So that's sort of the stuff we're going to do. But I'm losing my voice. Beach Boys after Brian Wilson. Don, I hear you, man. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. And we'll be back either tomorrow night or the next night with another topic. So I appreciate your feedback all the time. And give me ideas for other topics for when we chat with you. So there you go. Hey, Bill, have a good night too. See ya.